Assalamu alaikum. Hi, Oracle Reiki spiritual healer. And I wanted to give you a conversation that I understood a while back. And one of the reasons why I came on this mission is one of the reasons why, I had no choice but to come on this mission. But it's one of, the main factors in me becoming a spiritual healer and why I'm no longer a caregiver. So, with that understanding, then I have to let you know that a promise, when you enter into an agreement with God, okay, when you enter into an agreement with God, it's not something very light that you can just decide to back out when you get ready to. So a lot of people who are thinking that they can go into an agreement and God accepted your agreement, and then you try to turn your back on the agreement. Then you try to, back out of the agreement. That's not how this works. So the agreement is, when you make a pact with God, then, that is something that you must hold your end of the bargain. So, I was like, man, I want to, stay here and be a caregiver. I want to stay here, but I made this pact with God a long time ago. For the young people in my family, that I see them, get old and they can stand on their own. That I, was able to contribute to my family. So when you have made this type of agreement, when you have made this type of, pact with God, it must be carried out. You must fulfill your obligation. I don't care who you are, whether you are male or female. So this is why I give you these understandings, that when you are married, and if your husband should hear you making these types of agreements and pacts with God, then he can take on that responsibility. He can take that, agreement away from his wife. And so these are the spiritual understandings and nature of the man, the authority that God has given to him over the woman. And a lot of people do not want to understand that there are different rights for men and women. Nothing, taken away from the men. It's just that they are, nearest to God. They were created first. And there should not be a competition as to, the rights and the rituals given to men or women. Okay, by God. So now that we have understood that portion of our video, then we have to make sure that when you enter into an agreement, any kind of agreement that you enter into with God, it must be carried out. You cannot sit here and say, that person over there has been attacking me all of my life, and I'm just gonna, stay around them because, that's my, orphan caregiver. That's an elderly person. No, it must be carried out. It doesn't matter, who it is. If you have entered in these types of agreement and say, well, Lord, just, let me make it so that I can, have the amount of money to go on your mission. Yeah, I got jokes. Then, God will certainly answer you, and you will have that amount of money. You will have that money. You will have provisions from God through your business or otherwise, through your prayers, through your good deeds. God will bless you with those provisions so that you can go on his mission and spread his words. Okay? So when you have certain understandings, and I can't tell anybody what to do because, that's not for me to tell you what to do. But I'm telling you from my understanding. I'm telling you that when you enter into any kind of agreement, it must be carried out no matter who you are. So we want to make sure that, we hold up our end of the bargain and we do what God has commissioned us to do in this bargain with God. Because if you decide to get depressed and not carry it out because you got to go through something, that's not what we're doing over here. And then that's why many people's lives are hit with thunderbolts, because they're walking around here, as the Harry Potter Voldemort, trying to do what they want to do up on the earth. And they have certainly been, taken out of commission because of the evil that they have sent up on the earth. So now that we're having these understandings, that how we're going to carry out our mission is by telling people about God. Is by letting people know and warning people about what is being carried out up on the earth, what we discern from God, that God is in us. And when we are in these types of agreements, that the earth is letting us know that there is a grave amount of evil up on the earth, that there are certain places that you should not be at, that God's wrath and punishment is going to be carried out upon these places or on these people, and you should separate yourself. There are certain men who have been given over into the entity. Not all men, but certain men who are not fair, who are not wanting to be just upon the land to the opposite sexes. God's wrath is upon them, and they are being tormented, and punishment is upon those men, so that they will never have enough. There will never be enough for them, in order to take care of themselves, or to have the type of life that they want to live, because they have not followed what God has given to them. They have not studied his word, and they have not been fair to the vulnerable and the weaker, people who are up on the land, the women and the children, the females, the girls, the elderly, So we have to make sure that we are seeing these events happen in our lives once we have made those types of pacts with God. When we have said that I want to work for, God, I want to carry out your mission, when we have submitted to God, it doesn't matter whether you are male or female. When you have submitted to God, you must carry out your half, your agreement. It must be, a call to action on your part. And those types of understandings, when you see your brothers and sisters going astray, then you understand why that you had to come on this mission, why God is going to make the angels march behind and in front of you in order to make sure you carry out your mission. It says it in the Holy Quran. It is saying it also in the Holy Bible. And so when we get into these warnings that are upon the land, the warning that are upon these leaders in our lives, in our relationships, in our homes, the people who are supposed to be the leadership, whether, you have both parents or one parent, there is, justice that must be carried out. And there is a cleansing and wrath and punishment upon those who have attacked the chosen ones, who have been in an agreement with God. And a lot of people do not understand that. So I wanted to give you this holy message, this prophetic message, that the hand of God is upon the chosen ones who are in agreement with God. That mission and the word of God must be carried out through that person. And anyone that has attacked that person, they don't have to worry about it, because the angels is going to see to the chosen ones being protected, and the downfall of those persons who are in leadership, whether they are in the government or in your family. I hope you received this message. Please like, share, and subscribe to me over all of my platforms. Book your one-on-one sessions with me, your life coaching sessions, or your video chat sessions. You can also book a consultation so I can acclimate a gift to your situation. Donate to my channel or leave me a comment. I'm High Oracle, Reiki Spiritual Healer. Assalamu alaikum.